everybody, welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back with a quick, interesting product review for you today. Today, sitting in front of you is the Makita LXT tool line. This is an 18-volt cordless circular saw. This is model BSS610. I've had this saw for quite some time. It's a 6.5 inch circular saw. It has external brushes, so it's a brush type motor. Now, I bought this saw refurbished or rebuilt from Makita, and when you do that they put a little stamp on the tool. It says refurbished right there, and I've never had a lick of problems. I've used it for several years. It's a great saw. The RPM of the blade is 3,700 RPMs. It's a 6.5 inch blade. It has a nice aluminum shoe on the bottom. Again, it's the brush style motor, so it takes carbon brushes and they're externally accessible in the event that you might want to change them. Now, I've used this saw for several years and I've never had to change the brushes. In fact, they're not even that worn down. This saw has a bevel ability to go down to 45 degrees, just like this. You can adjust your shoe to cut at 45 degrees. And right here you can see that this little piece, there's a little set screw in the bottom, and when you turn these, the little set screw hits this piece right here. And the reason that happens is because it makes for a quick adjustment to line up to 45 degrees on your shoe. But if you push this up, just like that, it takes this little piece of metal out of the way, and the result of that is that it gives you a little bit more room so you can actually get to a 50-degree angle. So I like to keep this in the forward position. That way I can slap it right to 45 degrees and lock it right there. So that works really good. It has a slot here where we can install a rip fence. It has a tool. Now, I personally don't like the location of where they chose to put this wrench here, and the reason this wrench is here is so you can take off the blade, right? And the saw has a shaft lock right here, and what that shaft lock does is when you push that with your finger, it locks the blade so that you can take this screw out. So that's a shaft lock. So that's a good feature. This saw has a nice ergonomic feel to it. It's very comfortable in the hand. This rubber is very good. I've never had any problems with any of it. It's been a great saw. On the lower blade housing, you can see that there's graduation marks that tell you the depth that you're adjusting your blade to. So whatever depth of cut that you're looking for, you can find the appropriate mark, and basically you put the bottom of the shoe wherever that mark is. So if I wanted to cut, say for example I want to cut 1.5 inch stock, then I'll set it about like that, something like that. I usually make it just a little bit deeper. But this is a nice saw. It has an electric brake. If you cut at 90 degrees, which is a right angle, you can get 2.25 inches is the depth of cut that you can get with this saw. The saw itself weighs 7.6 pounds, and that's with the battery. It has LED lights that shine, that illuminate in the area where you're going to be doing your cutting. And also right here you can see this plastic housing. This plastic housing is really handy because what that does is that takes the natural cooling air. Okay, when the armature of the motor spins, it has fins on it, for the lack of a better term, and those fins produce air, and that air comes out of these vents. I don't know if you can see back in here where my finger is. The air comes out of those vents, and that's how the motor cools. Well, what Makita did, which is very smart, is they've routed some of this cooling air by using this plastic shroud right here, and the cooling air blows out this hole right here in the front. and it blows right down onto where your sawdust would be kicking up. So it blows the sawdust out of your way so that as you're cutting, you don't lose sight of your line. So that's a really cool feature. The saw is, again, 7.6 pounds. This saw will cut a 2x4 at 45-degree angle. So if you lock it at 45 like this, you can cut through a 2x material. Give you a quick listen to the way the motor sounds. That's what it sounds like. And let's do a quick cut or two here. See that I'm cutting through a full-size 4x4. Just cuts right through that stuff. No problem at all. Looks like I didn't have my blade quite deep enough. I had it set at 2.5 inches. That's what it looks like. Now you're probably wondering, how does this saw rip? Let's take a look. Out. Ripping is a very hard test on a cordless circular saw. It's very tough. We're successful in that rip. It took a lot of work to get it done. One thing that I want to mention is this little exhaust port where the sawdust comes out. It's not uncommon to see that get full and get plugged when you're ripping on this saw. I forgot about that until just now. But the saw works good. It's again, let me readjust that blade a little deeper and we'll cut right through this 4x4 again. Great saw, folks. BSS610. Well, folks, I want to say thank you for joining me today on the product review of the Makita BSS610 6.5-inch cordless circular saw. This is a great saw. It's 3,700 RPMs, got plenty of power. It's a good saw for the money. So if you're looking for one, this is definitely a good way to go. It's really good at cross-cutting. Ripping is hard on just about any cordless circular saw. So cross-cutting, this thing is a jewel. Works great. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you have a beautiful day. Bye-bye now.